Hey y'all, welcome to
Now She Speaks.
And I'm your host, Samandra.
And I'm Tristay.
Today is episode 2 of
Unbuild the Bear.
And so today we're going to be talking about red
Red
flags. All right.
Let's start. What was the red flag, Samandra?
Me first?
Yeah, what was the red flag?
Okay.
You don't want to know mine.
Okay, so if I'm unbuilding the bear and I want to talk about a red flag that I would, I always pause. I be trying to say it right just so I can say it, but a red flag for me was really truly just picking someone who is potential.
Okay.
Because at a young age, especially when you're young, you tend to think, I'm growing, they're growing. So we both, going through some things. Like, for instance, what I mean by that is like, in the beginning when you meet someone in 20, 24, 25, 30, 28, 29, right up in them ages, everybody's trying to build themselves and everybody's trying to go somewhere. And so I was in college when I met, a few people and whatever. But when I met him and, I looked at the potential. Okay, well, they might not have a job right now. They might not be doing this right now. But, we all struggling. We all got to make it. We all trying to get there. I'm in college and I work, just a little job. It's nothing major. So we're all trying to get there. And not instead of looking at potential, look at their effort. See what they're actually progressing in, not potential but progression, because the progression shows they're making progress to something, while potential just shows that they have it in them, but that don't mean they're gonna use it.
That's true.
And so that's a red flag that I definitely feel like if I could tell 23-year-old Samandra, that's one red flag I would have is stop trying to see potential and look at progress.
And don't build your bear off of potential, because that was definitely it. I could see that as well. Again, unbuilding the bear, and with your subject with the potential, I went through the same thing. It's like, oh, what can we do together? How can I help you? And again, I hadn't attacked my own issues. But I'm too busy trying to look at his potential or their potential and see what we can do together. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't even attacked my own stuff. So, yeah, I could see how that was a red flag. It was a red flag for me as well. Mm-hmm. For me, and I know this isn't really a big deal, but look at the whole family. Is that somewhere that you want to fit in? Is that somewhere where you're going to be able to build? And because yes, you marrying that person or dating that person, but at the end of the day, you're going to end up being in that whole family. And is that somewhere that you feel comfortable? And are you going to grow in that? Mm-hmm. Do they accept you as who you are? Mm-hmm. And are you able to, just to build off of that? And I think that was a red flag for me.
Mm-hmm. This preacher talked about this today. This week I was listening to him, and he was like, he was talking about fornication. He was like, if you take fornication out the situation and you just pay attention to this person, find out who they mama is, who they daddy is, because then you can figure out who they might end up being. That's or what they've been building their life skills off of, how they've actually been raised, can give you an idea of who they are and what they're gonna be. And he was saying, I was like, oh, he right, because like some people were raised where they didn't have a lot of affection. Right. And if you can meet the mom and daddy, some people you can't meet their parents, right? Some people are adopted or
right,
but most of the time, we're gonna say most of the time, you meet their family, their mom, their dad, their aunts and uncles, and just people that they're really close to. You could say, oh, they don't show a lot of love. He gonna be emotionally detached,
right.
Things like that, just to get an understanding. But sometimes when you do like start messing around, or you do find yourself not asking enough questions, not seeking it, you tend to like blind yourself because you already done made a decision. Yeah, you already made a decision within yourself.
And I realized for myself a lot of times that when you do look at the whole picture, the big picture, the whole scenery of events, how do I fit in that? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I may not even fit in that. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to squeeze my way in and just want to be in that situation. So you trying to build the bear or unbuild the bear of saying, you know what, maybe I wasn't even supposed to be in that scene. Maybe that wasn't for me. That wasn't the photograph I was supposed to be in for the rest of my life. And so those were some,
the photograph.
yeah, that was the main red flag for me. But again, if you go back to episode 1 when we were talking about, you know, things that we had to go through for us, I realized me trying to fit in with somebody else or trying to make sure I'm good even though I wasn't comfortable in that family is because I totally was not healed for who I was. So that was a major red flag for me to realize, do I fit in this picture? Is that the photograph I'm supposed to be in for the rest of my life? That was a major red flag for me. And the main part of the red flag is recognizing the red flag on you. Where you adjusted to who you were. Because if you are happy with who you are, you shouldn't care where you fit in. Who accepts you for who you are, because you being your true self. So that red flag for me was like, I really hadn't appreciated who Tristay was. And because I didn't appreciate Tristay, I felt like I could fit in anywhere, and I was miserable. I was unhappy about that. So some of the red flags were mainly just trying to trigger myself and get back to knowing who I am as a person, and knowing that I don't fit in every photograph, and that's okay. I don't have to fit in every photograph.
You don't build that bear, huh? You don't have to fit in every photograph.
I don't have to fit in every photograph, and again, it's okay. Everybody is different. That's what makes this world beautiful. We're all different, and I shouldn't be judged. You shouldn't be judged, and the next person shouldn't be judged. So if you're in a situation where you're being judged constantly because of who you are as a person, that ain't a good fit.
That ain't a good
Even
fit.
if you continue to wear the mask. To me, that's a red flag because I'm an eclectic thinker. I like all types of music, but I wouldn't play it in my own household. Because I felt like I was going to be judged. I may not just like R&B or rap. I might like a little country and western or something else, rock and roll, whatever. But I would never be like, now I'm able to be free and just run around and do what I think, play whatever I want. I got playlists from everywhere, And that's just who I am. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. And that, to me, that was a red flag, because if I can't be comfortable in my house, then what am I supposed to do? And if I'm not comfortable in a relationship, to be able to express that. And you accept me and like me for who I am. Yeah, that was a major red flag. I wasn't true to me.
So, okay, I have a question. So when you said you wasn't true to you. Let me get it. So you said you wasn't true to you in the relationship. Why not?
Because I was too busy trying to build the bear. I was trying to build the relationship. I was more consumed with making the relationship work. And I felt like I needed to fit into whatever I needed to fit in to make that relationship work. And I was never being true to me. And no fault to anyone else. It was just, I didn't have that confidence anymore. I didn't feel secure in who I was. And I constantly was judged because, I didn't fit in with everybody, or I didn't do this the way that they do things. And that was the main thing for me. I was like, let me try to fit in and maybe we can work this out. But I wasn't me. I don't think for the last couple of years, I wasn't me for a long time. And I feel like I crawled into a shell, and I knew that at one point this thing isn't going to work because I'm not able to be Tristay. And the main red flag for me was I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. And that's scary. When you look in the mirror and you don't even know who that person is. That was the main red flag for me. And it's no fault of anyone else. I just lost myself. I fell in love with the word marriage. But I don't know.
Most people do.
Right. If I knew the depths of what it takes to hold one together. And I know in that, I didn't take care of me. So the main red flag for me was I didn't take care of me at all.
So when you said, the red flag for you was that you didn't take care of you. how do you think you brought that into like the relationship or any relationship you had? Considering you more than likely, I remember from the first podcast we did, you were saying how you were still, broken from the divorce of your family, your family breaking up,
Right.
and so you were harboring that. So as you didn't take care of yourself trying to build, do you think you brought, like, how do you, what I'm trying
Definitely.
to say?
I definitely brought
You
that.
get it? Okay.
Yeah, I definitely brought that trauma into the relationship because I was trying to make the relationship be what I didn't have, and what I saw from my parents. I didn't want that relationship. I never got married to get divorced.
Right.
That wasn't my plan.
Right.
And to be honest with you, it's weird. It happened that my parents' divorce was their divorce and my divorce was my divorce, but it was a full circle moment for me because it was kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, why did I attract that same thing? You know what I'm saying? I was trying to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized it was because you wasn't healed from the first.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't even your divorce. That was your parents' divorce. You weren't even healed from that. And then you were trying to build on something that you hadn't healed from.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, not to throw that out about any past relationships, but I can go back to relationships with boyfriends,
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
It was the same thing. It was a repetitive cycle because I was not healed. And then another red flag for me was I'm kind of the nerdy girl. I'm kind of the artsy crafty girl. And I went after the bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would push the good guy away.
And how do you consider that to be like a red flag per se? Like, hey, stop. Like, how do you consider that to be a red flag?
Because it was the trauma from my dad. My dad was the good guy. He was and I hate to say the nerdy guy, but he was very smart, very intelligent. There was not a question I could ever ask him, but I didn't want that.
Mm-hmm. So that means the red flag in this for someone would be not to choose opposite because of your hurt, because of your trauma. I really believe, like for me, in all the relationships I had, is that I have always looked at potential. That's really my biggest red flag, because I've always looked at like, okay, so they don't have this, but it's okay. Like,
yeah,
I can get it together. Or he not this, but it's okay. Like, it'll be all right. Not everybody perfect. That not everybody perfect thing. That, let me say something. Because I say that because we have a tendency to ignore red flags because we want to say everybody not perfect. That is not the case in making sure that who you bring into your life be able to be who you need them to be in your life.
Yeah.
You can't walk around and say, well, he don't work, but it's okay. He gonna work. If he ain't come in working, good luck. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because seriously, they have to want to. I remember I told somebody, they were just kind of going through it or whatever, and they was like, he not. I said, and they were like, why he not? I said, he probably don't have the capacity to. He probably really not built for that.
Right.
And you're trying to make him built for something he ain't built for. That's why you have to not pay attention to potential and look at where they're progressing to. Because the progression means you took the step here, you took this step here, you're moving to this next level here. You got to finish this level. Have they finished something? Have you finished anything? That's another one. Has he finished anything, Lord? Finish something. Has he finished something? Or has she? It's some siren women too.
Yeah.
Anyway, but has she finished something? Has this person finished anything? Where are they progressing to? Maybe they don't have the $1 million yet, but they're progressing somewhere. Maybe they don't have the big job yet, but they're starting as a package carrier. They're gonna make a way to their routes. You know what I'm saying? Now they have their routes, and then they'll be able to pick up more trucks and all these different things. That it's a progression in it. Not just I got a dream. Yeah, I had a dream. And that's true. But that was always my thing because I was a pretty, I wouldn't say nerdy, but I was really book smart. graduated, honors in high school. Was one of them college kids that as long as I put my head together, I can pass this class. I can do this. I can do that. And I've always chose the bad. I'm not I guess the bad boy. I call them thugs, but call them what you want. And I was the type that always chose them simply because I was a product in that particular aspect. I was a product of my environment.
Okay.
So although I wasn't like that kind of chick, I still had that mentality of that kind of chick. Anyway, I was always like, well, he say he want this, so I'm gonna, he be alright. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or he trying, or I'ma help him. Ooh, building the bear. Baby, I done helped till I can't help no more. Baby, you gotta wanna do that. I cannot get you there. I'm country. I got my old clip came out of it. I cannot get you there.
Oh my God.
If I gotta build you, I gotta be able to actually push you here, push you there. Yes, everyone. And I'm on a rant, but seriously, this is my big issue is that I was always saying like, well, he don't know, so I'm gonna show him how to do it.
Right.
But the thing is that he gotta wanna do it, meaning he gotta ask me. If let's say he don't know how to do back office in business work, you know what I mean?
Right.
'Cause I'm real good at back office stuff, and he say, babe, I'm building my business, and I got 20 clients, but I don't even know how to do my back office. How do I do that? You are supporting, and now you're seeing the progression and the growth, but not, okay, so you need some customers and you need a back office. I'm going to make you the page. I'm going to get you the customers. I'm going to tell you need to do it. You fussing and getting them together and simply thinking that that's your way of potential and getting their potential out of them.
Right.
No, they got to want to do it. And that's my red flag for me is I always had chosen most of the time someone that was potentially doing something up here, but not doing anything right here. And another red flag for me was that I would have this thing where I always was, I'm going to say it, I people please. And the people I pleased the most was my mama and my family. And I'll say that to the point to where if my mama, I wonder if mama and them going to have something to say. And so I'll try to choose based on, I wonder what they're going to say. And what happened in that is that when I got to a point to where I was like, when I started having children, I end up like saying, well, I guess this is how I go because this is what my mama did. And what happened in that was, for me, the red flag that I had was that I was choosing life based on what my mama did and said, and I didn't look at life how my life really was going and paying attention to what do you really want out of this? Do you really want to be like your mom or your dad or your cousin? Even if they're living a great life, their life might not be yours.
Right.
And I was always like, oh, well, I wonder what my mama gonna say. I would always call my mom. I'm a big mama's girl or whatever. In that sense, I would call my mama and ask her all the advice in the world, not making my own choices. I did that a lot, especially when it came to marriage. I kind of just fell into what I saw her do.
And you know what? I think a lot of it, here's another red flag. We're always constantly seeking validation.
Yes, that's what it is. There you go. That's what I was trying to say.
Right. And so when you said that, that's where that
it's
came
like
from.
a silent validation, though.
Right.
Because you don't necessarily just be like, Mama, what you think all the time, but you're choosing based on what they will approve to not look like the one doing the most in the family, not the one who, going too far in the family,
right.
Just staying right here just enough,
And it's okay if you are that person. It's okay if you're that person that stands out. Because I know me. I told you, the artsy, crazy, fro type of chick. And at that point in time, it was like I was seeking validation from people that didn't really even know who I was. Never even got the chance to know who I was. I was too busy trying to fit in. I put that mask on and try to fit into this little portrait and see if we get together and how that's going to look. But it was never me. And you never even got the chance to get to know me. And I put that on other relationships. Like right now, you breaking free of things and you're healing and you're going through different things for yourself. people are looking at me like, what's wrong with her? I'm not that same girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no longer seeking your validation. I'm doing me.
Yeah.
Here's the secret. We didn't get it from our daddies.
Okay, so you know what? That's so true, because let me tell you something I was thinking about. I remember after my first kid, we was living next door to y'all, and my daddy had came over right before I didn't know he was dying, but he was dying. Anyway, and he was like, I had lost all that weight. And I told him, I said, don't I look cute? And he was like, he just looked at me and was like, girl, because I always messed with him like that. But then I was like, don't I look cute? And don't I look good? I lost the weight. He was like, yes. And I was like, thank you. But I really wanted him to say that. Like, even though I was playing with him, because I always played with him like that, I really wanted him to say that. And I looked back over that a few months ago, I think, and I was like, I used to mess with him because I really wanted him to say stuff like that to me. And he didn't, and it wasn't like he didn't want to, like he was mean. It just wasn't him, because again, he was raised differently.
Right.
So he didn't live like that to do that, and I didn't really understand that, because I was 27 when he passed away. I was probably 25, 26 at the time, and I was just still trying to finally know him as an adult, considering that the whole other times of life, I was a child with him or whatever. So yeah, you're right. I thought about that a couple weeks ago. Like, I wanted him to say I was cute.
I think that comes from, okay, so I grew up in a military family. We were kind of stuff. We were kind of stern. We weren't huggy, touchy, give each other hugs type of thing. And then when I did get in a relationship where families were like that, it was weird for me. Like, I didn't want them to think that I was just, what's wrong with her? It just was, I didn't grow up like that. And I constantly try to seek that validation from my mom, you know what I'm saying? And from my dad, and just for other people, even, at the time, my spouse. And I realized, Tristan, get out of that. You are you. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. Love you. And that's what I had to realize. The red flag for that was, I need to learn how to love me. It all boils back down to that. Like, we were unbuilding that bear, and the layers that pulled back for me was I didn't love who I was, and I was trying to put that on everybody else, and that wasn't their fault. It was mine. And so seeking that validation it came from childhood. I didn't get that then. So let me go to this relationship, and maybe I'll get it. And you don't. And then you're just like, what's wrong, But I really realized at that point in time that I needed to unbuild me. And that was a major red flag for me. You don't know who you are. You really don't. When you get lost in a relationship, and it could be any relationship. It could be family relationships. It could be, I look at my family now. I really realize a lot of my family don't know who I am. And it's okay, because I'm growing and I'm speaking out for myself now. And people are like, where'd she come from? You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't do it. I was kind of quiet, and I just sunk to the bottom of the barrel. And I don't want to do that no more. So now I speak up. Now I say how I feel. I'm not rude or anything, but I'm going to look out for me. The validation is validating myself. I don't need that from anybody else.
That's a good red flag. Not choosing people to be in your life, making yourself small for the people in your life. You need to check that, and you need to stop that.
And I had to check that within. Yeah, I had to check that within myself and stop apologizing for who I am. If I like rock music, I like rock music, and that's all right. And you gonna deal with it. Or you gonna accept me for who I am? Maybe we'll rock out together. I don't know. But what I'm saying is stop making myself small to fit in that photograph. I can't copy and paste every relationship.
I ain't gonna try I'm trying to press Shift Delete and stuff.
Control Alt Delete.
No, that cut the computer. I want Shift Delete. Permanent delete. I'm done with this. Shift Delete. Okay.
I'm so done. I'm so done.
Girl.
But this was a good conversation about red flags. What do you guys think? What are your red flags? Let's talk about it. What are some things that you really need to, and I hope that what we were transparent about helps you.
Yeah.
What are your red flags? Let's talk about it.
So thank y'all for joining in on Now She Speaks. And join us again on our next episode. Again, like, comment, share, tell your friends, tell everybody about it, because now she speaks.
And let's start talking about it. We need to heal. And the way we heal is from within. So let's talk about it. Let's speak about it. All right. Y'all have a great time. See y'all next time.